It's
Good morning and welcome to successcafe.tv.
good morning, everybody.
Warren. That's Warren. He lives in the EU. I don't.
Yeah.
So anyway, today's
I'm part of the club still. You're not.
yeah, yes, you're part of the club. Yeah. Today's subject. I love Europe, by the way. Just like to say, just don't want to be part of it. The magic of time integrity. Okay, now we do speak about time on and off. We have done one particular show about time, but I just thought it's something we need to revisit and the number one thing is because time is a precious commodity that we all have and we all waste, some more than others.
Mm-hmm.
Some are not even aware of it, you know.
Well, you could say those people are the blessed ones.
In some respects, yeah.
Yeah.
In some respects. But
this is the amazing thing for me is like time is an illusionary concept created by man, yet we're all bound to it.
Yeah.
It is an illusory concept. There is no time in the universe. We create a time, yet we're bound to time. And we feel that, and that's the most precious resource available to us, commodity available to us is time, because it'll never come back again.
But I've got something that's equally the same.
Age.
No, well, no, because that goes with time. But
yeah,
oxygen.
Oxygen.
I like the two of them together.
But oxygen is real.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I know. But I mean, yeah, if it's not real time, then why am I worried about it?
That's precisely my point. This is the dichotomy. It's we're concerned about something that is illusionary, that is made up. It's a label of something. That's all it is, really.
Yeah, but it's not renewable.
No, it's not renewable.
You can't send it back for a refund.
And you can't create it. You can't
go to the supermarket and buy some more.
No.
But there are some things you can do, which we're not going to go into, the obvious things, to make life a little bit easier on yourself and enjoy the time more. That's the other thing, enjoyment. So if you're not enjoying yourself, come and speak to us. Yeah. But
we'll tell you all about our problems.
No, absolutely not. No, you wouldn't like my problems. No. Anyway, I just got to go to the loo. No, anyway, anyway, I'm only joking. Anyway, you can't get them back. You just can't get them back. All right. I personally think that time is sacred, and we should respect it, and it should be protected as much as possible. Which means that each day you have to use it wisely, but you have to use it for you, for the individual, however you want to use it. Okay. Now, because we're in sport and in business, okay, we tend to think of using time to get better. All right, that's just our way of mind. It's the old Kaizen mentality, never-ending improvement.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, you must invest it wisely. In my opinion, you might disagree, and that's fine. So, anyway, what do you do with your time? Do you waste any time?
A lot of it. Oh, a lot of it.
Well, we should waste some. We should do a little bit
in bits and pieces.
A little bit of daydreaming.
Yeah.
A little bit of thinking.
Yeah.
A little bit of relaxing. You should do all these things. But time is,
as I like to call it, chillaxing.
Chillaxing, yeah.
Chillaxing.
Yeah. So it's one of our biggest challenges, time. Do you think you're ever 100% satisfied?
100% satisfied? Oh,
yeah, the individual. Would an individual ever be 100% satisfied with the way they're using their time, if they were concerned about it?
I think if you're concerned about it, you're never going to be satisfied.
Precisely. Yeah.
But if you, I'm not saying being aloof or blasé about time either, but if time does not have a grasp on you, and have a cast iron lock attached to your ankle, then yeah, I don't see that you should be ever seeking perfection in time and be worried or concerned about whether you do or not, because there's nothing you can do about it in any case, is there? So
No, but I actually think if people waste time, should have an ankle bracelet on that gives them a little short, sharp
burst of
literally
energy.
sort it out. I'm only joking.
A little needle inserted into the Achilles. That'll
Okay,
do
so,
you. That'll do you.
so the whole thing about this is, apart from having fun and enjoying yourself, because that's very, very important, we are talking about business, and we are talking about sport, and we are talking about maximizing our effectiveness and efficiency. That's what we are about, for using time, and it goes, that a lot of people, you waste time, I waste time, everyone wastes time, but we also waste time because we're affected by other people. Now, if your kids come along and want to play type of thing, then that's time well spent as far as I'm concerned.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah? But then you get the annoying relative, or the friend you don't really want to see all the time. And they try and rob your energy, and they try and rob your time. So what would you say to that?
It just reminds me of
apart from 2 words.
That just reminds me of something that happened to Andrea yesterday. At time, it was complete wrong time. Somebody that she knows just like walked into our apartment without knocking or anything, and just walked in and demanded water. And yeah, that kind of blew her time out of the water, so to speak. And
did she know this person?
Yeah, she knows.
Oh, right, okay. It wasn't a stranger then.
No, but not like as a close friend.
Right,
this person just arrived, opened the door, and was like, Andrea was like, what's going on here? But for her, like, she had just dozed off, and she was waiting for a friend to arrive, and she just dozed off waiting. She knew she had some time, and all of a sudden the door opens and this woman bursts in. So her whole time frame was completely messed up, because she was thinking, what's going on here now? And it just reminded me that what you were saying just reminded me of that story. So yeah, what was the question again?
I don't remember. Anyway.
Yeah, look. You want to. The way I see time is like this: is you can't dictate to people where they should be spending their time and how they should be spending their time. If you have a task or project you want to do, you want to accomplish something, goals. How you spend your time doing that, as long as you accomplish that, then fine. That's cool. As long as it doesn't take you forever to do it.
Yeah.
But for example, like now, just before the podcast, I'd been up since 5:45 this morning. I'd done a few things. I'd had a workout, and I wanted to be fresh before the podcast and for after the podcast. And I know if I'm the type of person, if I'm really tired, I can't function. I don't function. If my brain is feeling tired and fatigued, I can't function. I can't do things properly. I end up just wasting time. So I'd rather just put my head down for 30 minutes, have a little kip, wake up refreshed and ready to go. And then I know I'm going to be productive. But somebody else may look at that and say, well, you're wasting time. Why are you sleeping for 30 minutes? It's in the middle of the morning. That's you wasting time.
I'm with you. If you find, it's like finding yourself going down this cul-de-sac in your mind, and coming to a dead end and go, well, that didn't work. and you start, I wouldn't say stressed, but you start thinking, go and have a power nap, go and have a read, go and have a walk, go and do something, just for 5 or 10 minutes, and then come back afresh, and as I say, get back into it and make sure you don't go down that same cul-de-sac.
And that's a great way to use your time doing nothing, in my opinion.
Oh, absolutely. You and I know, you and I realize what we mean by not utilizing your time right. It doesn't mean say you've got to be working all the time or working on a project. It just means that, don't waste it. Just whatever wasting means to you, the individual, It's, but the key for me is being absolutely ruthless with working time, so that you're utilizing every second you can within reason. But we all still waste it. Doesn't matter, doesn't matter if you time block or anything. I still have to get up, and I can't work solid for 2 hours.
I think very few people can. There's
No.
not many people can do that.
Because if you think about when you're listening to someone, maybe you're at a seminar or something similar where you're listening to someone, you've got about 20 minutes, roundabout, unless it's really, really interesting, because sometimes I can listen for 2 hours because it's that good.
Mm-hmm.
But a lot of the time it's good, but it could be better, And I think that what happens after about 20 minutes, you start switching off, thinking about something nice, maybe going swimming or something. It's like, and I think if I was a speaker, if I was on the stage as a speaker, I'd want everyone to have a few minute break every 20 minutes.
Yeah, that's what I have done in the past, and that's what I would still do today if I was still talking on stage. I would make sure that people.
Or online, you could actually say to someone, "Look, we're on here. We can stay live, but we can have a few minute break." I mean, I'm sure some people listening to the podcast will say that I wish we had more breaks, like spend more time off screen, but that's another thing. But anyway, I mean, look, office hours.
Yeah.
Office hours to me, being a business person, is time you make available for maybe your team, where they know during those 2 hours or whatever it is, they know they can get hold of you.
Mm-hmm.
But on the other hand, I would say to them, don't phone in the other 6 hours unless it is really an emergency. Okay. So I'll let them make that decision. Yeah, but I think, but everyone will use it in their own way.
Of course.
Where you really, really have to be ruthless is if you're an athlete or a coach and you're coaching someone like an athlete, and at 9 o'clock in the morning or whatever time it is, you've got 2 hours of solid training.
Mm-hmm.
That's where you also need to be ruthless.
Mm-hmm.
That is, there's only one thing that happens in that world at that time for those 2 hours, and that is your training.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I have to be like that sometimes with some of my clients. I have 1 or 2 clients. They're close to their phone all the time, and
phone goes off.
Then it's like, if I'm training a particular client during office hours, business hours, then I can understand that. I can understand, especially if it's their business. It's business hours. Then if they're distracted by the phone, I can understand that. But if it's not business hours and it's outside and the world's not coming to an end, then I really don't like it when my client is on the phone. If the phone vibrates or rings or messages, and then they're getting gravitating towards the phone, I tell them, I said, come on, yalla now, it's time to move, get going.
Yeah.
Because that's time that is like you're really wasting time because you're paying me for your time.
Yeah.
So
but I mean, it's not only paying you for your time, but they've also got to respect your time.
True.
You are there for a specific reason.
Yes.
At their request.
Yes, at their request. Yeah.
So
which is what I've had to do to remind I've had to remind clients before of that. I'm here for you at this time, but if you want to waste your time, I'm happy to keep getting money from you. But if you want to waste your time while you're with me, don't complain if you don't get the results that you're looking for.
Absolutely.
Yeah, this is the other thing about wasting time. Sorry, Paul.
No, it's fine.
I know you want to jump onto the next thing, but
I don't want to talk about.
So the people will waste time, for whatever reason, and then they complain when they don't get the results, and they blame somebody else for that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think the magic of time integrity is also about using tools that are available to you, like the written diary or an electronic diary. They go hand in hand, so you can then set aside certain times of the day when you're going to be doing certain things, whatever they are for you. Okay. And the word here is, I've got to try and see if I can say this word. Specificity, is it?
Specificity.
Yeah, that one. Yeah. Anyway, so you've got to be, you've got to be definite in what you're doing, and you've got to be specific. and know that when you set aside time to do, like I'm doing a nutritional course, and I set aside as a final exam for one of the immune intents. We're talking about immune system, and I set aside time and I stuck with it and did it. And I think, that's good. I finished it now. What can I do now? And that's prepare for this. That's the second thing.
Okay.
For the rest of the day, I'm going to be looking at lead generation.
Okay.
Right. So that's my 3 things for the day. So I'm not specific enough in the lead generation yet, but it will. I'll section it down. I'll sit and think about it for a little while.
Mm-hmm.
And and then I'll write out what I want, and then I'll do it.
That's perfectly fine.
Yeah. So but you not only have you got to respect, as I said, I think I've already mentioned it, but I don't think you've got to respect your own time, which is number 1 as far as I'm concerned, right? But number 2 is very closely following it, as close as you can get, and that is respecting everybody else's time.
Well, this often is a reflection of people's respecting, whether they respect their own time or not, as if they don't respect your time.
Yeah.
So often if people don't respect your time, it's a good indicator that they don't really respect their own time as it is.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think the 2 go hand in hand there.
So what that means is making sure if you say you're going to do something, you do it. If you're going to meet someone online or down the coffee shop or whatever, you are there early, not on time. You're there early, albeit a few minutes or 5 minutes or whatever it is, because it's great when they turn up if you're already there.
Yes,
because it's a great respect to someone's time. Yeah, the other way that you can use time, which I think doesn't take long, is breathing.
Mm-hmm.
Breathing is very, very healthy. And I mean, I know we have to breathe to live. I don't mean that. But what I'm saying is if you're specifically doing deep breaths, you don't have to do it in public, by the way. You can do it in private.
But you can do it in public.
You can do it in public, but some people think you're a little bit weird sometimes. So
no, it doesn't need to be obvious. It really doesn't need to be obvious.
No, it is the way I do it.
Yeah. You can look. I know techniques that you can do deep breathing, and you can be sitting in the middle of a restaurant, and nobody will know what you're doing. It's just
unless you're doing it like a 2-second expansive air, then they'll know.
Yeah, then they'll know. Or if you do like 8-second breath holds, and then your face starts going.
As you can well imagine, there are many, many different ways of breath, using your breath for health reasons,
Breath techniques.
Yeah, breath techniques. So yeah. So the other thing is you can't. I think if you respect people's time and respect your own time and use it wisely, I don't think you can't waffle, right? Because unless it does depend on the circumstances. Obviously, if you're sitting on a panel of people and you're thinking about your answers and things like that. But that's not what I'm talking about. What I'm talking about is waffling, which we're talking crap. I know it's a bit sharp and harsh and whatever, but it's the only way I can put it across.
Unless you're in a social gathering, yes.
Yeah, but it's a little bit different then, because maybe you're at a party and it flows, doesn't it? But waffling to me is not just having conversation. It's people trying to speak about things they don't know anything about, which I'm not going to go into. You know exactly what I'm talking about.
Yeah, well, they're just talking for the sake of talking.
That's right. Or they've got their own opinion, which you can't change, or well, you shouldn't try and change, but you can't. Their opinion is it. That's the world, and but you don't waffle. Don't waffle. So
making a waffle, that's a different story, but that's a different podcast.
Yeah, but the other thing is if someone phones you up to ask you to do something or something similar like that, and I found these 3 sentences which I thought were quite good that you can say back to people, and I'll read them out. The first one was, to make sure I can respond in time, can you please specify what you need, or what you need exactly. I have 10 minutes to talk now. Because you know what it is when someone phones up, but you've only got 10 minutes left, before your next appointment or something. But I have 10 minutes to talk now. Is that enough time? If not, let's schedule a time that works for both of us. Yeah. And I have to make sure this one. To make sure I'm focused on this conversation, how long do you think we need? And that's respecting the other person's time.
Yeah.
I didn't want to make them up, and I wasn't going to waffle. I liked them. When I saw them, I liked them. So it's, because it is. I mean, when someone asks you to do something, it's very hard to say no. Because if you're, I suppose I've always been a people pleaser up to now, up to the last few months. But now I say no, can't do it. I'm learning very, very fast now.
Very fast.
Or I'll say, look, I'm not sure if I can do that, but I'll come back to you. I'll come back to you tomorrow or whatever it is, So it's you've got to learn to say no and not now.
Or not just commit in the moment, yes.
Yeah, because it's so easy to do that. And you think, oh, I wish I hadn't done that. So we don't want to let people down. I mean, it's a simple thing.
True. I mean, this is, especially in some cultures, they just don't know how to say no.
Yeah.
So they will continuously, they will say yes. And then you have that avoidance scenario where they avoid the question or they avoid the subject continuously until the day they die or they disappear from your life, because they haven't done what they said they can do, because they didn't want to say no in the first place, but then they don't know how to say no again, so they just avoid the subject. And in some cultures, that's I found from personal experience, not just myself personally, but with many other people, that's very much part of the culture, really.
Yeah,
the inability to say no. And we need to. It shows that like you say, we're respecting our own time, and by respecting our own time, we end up respecting the other person's time, because by saying yes and you can't do it inside, you're not respecting their time. They want you to commit to something and you're just not able to do it. So you end up spoiling that relationship potentially, because you're not respecting your time or theirs.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So the other thing about time is decide what it is that's more important, because you could have two things on the agenda. I'll give you an example here. All right. And it's I think they call it a dichotomy. Okay. Anyway, so on Sunday between 6 and 8, I do 6-a-side football.
Okay.
Referee. Every Sunday. Okay, so I have a mindset call at 8 o'clock, so I always miss the first few minutes. So I can't do anything about that, because the moment I start going onto the meeting before 8 o'clock, I start putting it in my pocket, and it keeps knocking it and going live, and they can hear me.
Okay.
So I have to do it after 8 o'clock.
Yeah.
Anyway, at 6 o'clock next Sunday, I have an accountability call or a webinar or whatever it is, and it's very important. But I've got this refereeing I do from 6 to 8. So what did I say? I said to you, can you record it for me?
Yeah.
Yeah. I won't put off an accountability call with a partner, but unfortunately this Sunday, if I want to keep my job, right, is I have to say I can't be on it live. I don't want people to think that I'm not going to be on it. I didn't want to be on it. I do want to be on it, but I want to do it I'll have to do it on a recording. So just an example. But make sure you don't do any pointless meetings. Make sure there's a reason why you're going on a meeting. Is it beneficial? Is it beneficial to you? Is it beneficial to the other parties? Okay. Yeah, I mean, don't go on any calls. I'm not talking about family and talking to them. I don't mean that. But business-wise or sports-wise, even, don't go on any calls that really it's pointless you being on them. There's no benefit. So the only other ones that I would say that borderline ones, if you're building rapport with someone that you want to work with in the future. So there's that type of call as well, but that is useful.
Of course, okay. Of course, yeah. You're there. Yeah. Your futurescaping. You're looking towards the future.
Yeah. So it's all about good use of your valuable time.
Talking of this, The Springbok, the South African men's rugby team that played against the British and Irish Lions this weekend, first Test match, and they were talking about the challenges that the Springboks have faced because of COVID in the lead up to this, and one of them was that for a period of time, they were having to do training via Zoom. So we're actually having to do the physical, like actual training, running through training protocols and everything via Zoom because players were isolated and all these kind of things. Not everybody could come together. So that's a great example of maximizing your time. They could have just said, we can't do that because, throughout the history of rugby or any sport, typically you don't train on Zoom. You're in face to face when you have a coach and a team. You've got your players together, and they could have just said, we can't. What can we do about it? We're going to have to see what happens. But no, they made their time work for them, and they use Zoom, and it works. It's worked to some extent. So yeah.
Well, that is similar to what I'm going to talk about now, and that's managing your time. It is managing your time in the best way possible. You've got to be rock solid with your time as far as possible, but flexible in the way you do it.
Mm-hmm.
So whether it's online or offline, it's. But whatever you do with your time, you have to maintain positive and resilient relationships. Don't let, because you can't do something, because you've got to say no to something, don't let it spoil the relationship. You have to explain why you can't do it.
Which is, I guess, why so many people can't say no, because they feel that if they do, they're going to spoil the relationship, and they don't know how to explain themselves or to eloquate themselves in a way that, they don't burn their bridges. Okay.
That's right. Yeah. But look, we've got 1,000,001 things that demand our time.
Sure.
We have to sort through them and work out what is going to work and what isn't going to work. All right. Yeah. I mean, it is as simple as that. But you have to you personally, entrepreneur, whatever, you have to take care of your responsibilities first before you worry about anyone else's. That's just the way it is. So
it's for anything.
Yeah. And that is what the magic of time integrity is all about. Mm-hmm. It's about respect. So what you've got to do is set up your own rules. Set up your own rules that you stick to as far as possible, as much as possible. And the degree of flexibility that you put in it will be down to you. You're the one you're the one who's got to face the. What was you talking about the mirror the other day?
Yeah, you face the man in the mirror. Yeah.
Yeah, the man in the mirror, and that's the person. That's the person you've got to impress.
Yes, and the only person you need to impress.
Well, that's right. So
also, like you say, you mentioned you have to have it literally written in stone, but at the same breath, you need to be with how that plays out.
Yeah.
And Paul and I can talk to you about that for the next half an hour, but it's unless you go through that yourself, you're never really going to fully understand how you would do that in your own unique scenario. Your life is unique, so you have to try to figure out for yourself how that looks for you. You make your plan for the day. You have your 3 things set out that you want to accomplish for the day, and then you got to try to accomplish those as best that you can. But you need to be flexible. You got to.
If you're just on the way, out and your front door drops off, I think your timing is going to have to change a little bit.
Yeah.
Don't think, I'll sort that door out when I come back.
Front door drops off.
That's the best way I can think of it. And you're on your way out. But
I don't know if that's ever happened to anybody, but yeah.
Yeah, it's happened to me. Anything like that's happened to me. So,
okay.
But we're talking generally the vast majority of time. So, and the thing is, we always talk about the outcome or the day has a priority. Okay, you should always have one priority. It takes precedence over everything else. All right. Sometimes you get it wrong, but it doesn't matter. As long as you get to your priority sometime during the day, it's fine. But, at least have, most of the time, what your priority is. Get that done. So at least, you can say, well, I didn't waste all my time today. So,
Yeah,
and of course,
that for me is between 12 and 12:45.
yeah.
And I know I didn't waste my time. The rest of the day, that's okay.
Yeah. Bear in
Some of
mind,
my
you're the only one who can decide what you're going to do today.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? Don't let anyone decide it for you unless you work for an employer. And he says, or she says, you will be doing this
At this time.
at this time. Yeah, and you take the money, so you have to do, what you're asked and what you're told, unfortunately. But so if you can escape that, even better. But you have to be merciless with your time, as much as possible, and get your work done. Because at the end of the day, I'll just say one thing. At the end of the day, there are no excuses. Because even if something interrupts you, you can tack 15 minutes on the end. Sorry.
No, you can. Yeah. I'm just listening to what you're saying. Yeah, of course.
No, I cut you into what you were saying.
No, you were in the flow of something, and an idea came to my head, and I wanted to say it, but it's fine. Don't worry. I was going to say that's merciless, not merciful.
Absolutely.
Not merciful.
Merciful,
yeah.
All right. Well, I wrote down I found a description of integrity, and integrity, the quality of being honest and having strong moral principles. Okay. Staying whole and undivided, and I've added a word to it: focused.
Okay.
Focused. So some ways that we can be ruthless with our time, and we've said the first one was saying no.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Now, you're not going to say no to everything, but you've got to learn to know when to say no. Stop hitting the snooze button. It's another great one. All right. Interjecting time management itself is a myth. Okay, you can't manage time. Time will click on. Just listen to the clock. If you've got one that makes a noise, right? You can't stop it unless you smash it. But even then, in the background, time is really speeding on. And as you get older, you'll find that time goes faster. It doesn't really. In your mind, it goes faster.
Well, in every year, the year decreases in time by a few hundredths of a second or something like that in every year.
But I'm not going to be. Yeah, but 100 years. Say you live 100 years, it's not going to be that much, is it?
In essence, scientifically speaking, time does go quicker every year. It goes a little bit faster.
Yeah.
But yeah. Look, I wanted to before I do forget, and I think you mentioned the second point is don't hit that snooze button. That is a huge one, because when people hit that snooze button, they're psychologically telling themselves, they're sending themselves a message.
Yeah,
it's okay to go snooze again. It's okay to just wait. Yeah, we'll wait. Doesn't matter. Yeah, if that alarm goes off, it's gone off for a reason. You set it to get up at that time. So why tell yourself the moment you've set that alarm, it's okay, I'll snooze for another 5-10 minutes. No, you set it because now you're telling yourself a message that is not serving your day. Your day is going to start off that way. Imagine what the rest of the day is going to look like. So bear that in mind. That snooze button should be illegal on alarm clocks.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, some people would get away with it. They just set alarm after alarm after alarm, wouldn't they? I've got about 12 to 15 alarms on my clock. But they're different days and different, it's not all on one day. But I've even got my goals on 2 of the alarms each day, telling me what my goal is.
We've spoken previously about, like I mentioned to you before, like I try to make my environment as ecological for myself as possible. Yeah. Okay. So if you look at my alarm clocks, I've got one for in the morning, just in case. Okay, the dog doesn't wake me up beforehand. Then I've got one for mid-morning in case I want to have a quick snooze. So I've got it set. It's like at a certain time. I can just maybe change it by 15 minutes or even an hour. And I've got one for the afternoon, and then I've got one for the evening. So I don't have to go go click and then make big changes in the days. And no, I've just got it set for every day, and then it's at those certain times, and I just keep them on or off.
By setting alarms, you actually save time because you don't have to think about it.
Yeah, you're not thinking about it. Yeah, there we go.
So number 3 on my list. Well, when first one was say no, I can't remember what the second one was. But this one is procrastinate. Don't put things off. It's like getting up in the morning. Do it straight away. Do it straight away. Number 4 was priority first. You know, if you've got a priority that you need to do that day, get it done quickly. So you know, and it's psychological. It really affects the psyche. That's the biggest thing.
And physiological, not just psychological, but physiologically speaking.
Yeah,
too.
That's right. But it also opens up. It opens up the rest of the day.
Yeah.
Saying, now I believe things are possible. I've done something. You know,
accomplished something.
Absolutely. I mentioned this earlier. Leave early. Going to an appointment. You know, be fresh and alive. Make sure that you're not in any sort of drowsy state if you're going to meet someone, or you know, you don't want to be rushed. You don't want to be anxious. Leave well early. You know what it's like. You leave. You know, I've got to leave at 10:45 in the morning, and by the time you sort something out, it's like 3 or 5 minutes to 11. You lost that 10 minutes. You're already starting, the anxious bits already starting to kick in.
Precisely, yeah.
You know, it gets worse. Traffic jam.
Yeah, because no matter what, you still have a level of integrity, and you don't really want to be keeping people waiting inside. You may think in your head you justify it for, they don't mind, they don't care, but inside you don't want to keep that person waiting. That's why you justify it in your head logically or mentally. And the same goes like if you've got, and this I used to have to teach a lot of my trainers in the past. And if you've got a business partner or clients that are not necessarily incessantly late, but they are late on a regular basis, could be 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 15 minutes, and you've got another meeting after that, you know, don't go over your stipulated time for that to accommodate that person and then keep the next person waiting.
Yeah.
Because that doesn't, in my book, that doesn't make sense, because you're shortcoming somebody else for something that another person did, and they've got nothing to do with it. And then on top of that, you're rushing, you're feeling anxious, you know, you get stressed out, and your whole day is ruined because of one other person being late for 5, 10, 15 minutes. Tell them, sorry, we got to finish at this time because I have somebody else waiting.
Yeah.
And it's not easy for people to do that because they feel that they're cheating that person out of that time, but that you're not. That person's cheating themselves out of your time. So you got to remain integral to your time and maintain that, you know, that discipline. It's about goes back to ethics.
Absolutely. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, the other thing you've got to do is ignore everything that's irrelevant. And we have a lot of irrelevant things in our lives.
Yeah, plenty.
Yeah. So stay aware is the other one. Stay aware. Stay on the ball. You know, and you can crash in the couch after you've finished doing all your bits.
Yeah.
Right? But and the last thing is plan your day. Now, when do you plan your day? Do you plan it the night before, or do you do it first thing in the morning? Both work.
Both, yeah. I mean, for me, I do both. It's not either or, you know, neither nor. It changes.
Yeah, I must admit, it doesn't take. When I plan my day, it doesn't take long. It really doesn't. I know exactly what I'm going to be doing, so it's just a matter of writing it out, and I've got it in front of you. Just make sure that you know you're on target, stay on target, and doing the right things. You know, so
obviously my appointments are preset. You know, if they change, they change. But I know that the day before invariably. And if it's something that I need to do, like a task, then I may plan that on the day, and I may plan it the day before. Who knows? But
yeah. Time is free.
Yeah, it's one of the
time is free, but it's on an hourly timer.
Yeah.
So just watch the grains of sand going through the timer, and you'll go, oh my God. You know, because, you know, you've only got one life, you know, so you got to get stuck in there. Let people know how you conduct your time, how you want to conduct your time. especially if you have an office hours morning, do not contact me between 9 and 12. That type of thing. Because I will not, I won't know you're contacting me, but even if I did, I wouldn't answer it anyway. You know, and you've got to be ruthless with it. You could create.
Honestly, I don't even think it's necessary to be ruthless about that. In one
Depends
way,
what type of person you are.
For yourself, yes, but I don't think you necessarily have to communicate that with people either. Yeah,
I do with my family
because we are busy. So life goes on, life works, and we're not going to get back to people immediately. We're not always going to answer the phone just because they phone, you know. And life, that's people are trying to get, like you say, there's people trying to get a hold of our attention everywhere, every corner we turn around, everywhere we look, there's someone trying to get our attention. So people, they should, if they respect their own time. So this is a reverse psychology tool here. If they respect their own time, and you don't then phone them back, they're not going to bother about that. They'll be okay. When Paul's ready to phone me back, Paul will phone me back. As long as you phone them back, you don't just leave the fact that they called you as a missed call, then you leave it like that. But if somebody gets the humpty because you don't phone them back within 15, 20 minutes, then it means that they don't respect their time either.
Well,
because they don't understand.
I don't think, to be fair, in my small experience, I don't think people to respect their time. Most people.
No, most people don't.
Most people don't even think about it.
But that's not our
problem. No, absolutely no. That's not my problem. It's their problem.
Yeah.
So, but you can ease people down that route. That's what I'm trying to say. And I like to work to a structure. I don't do it all the time. Sometimes I freestyle. At the weekends, I freestyle. Means if I fancy doing something, I will.
Yeah, it's a good time.
During the week, structured. So, and there's no flexibility at all, really, when you're doing structured time. That's the other thing as well. So, yeah. So have you got anything else you want to talk about time-wise?
No, thank you. I think our time is up.
Absolutely. Yeah. So integrity is important, and the magic of time integrity is the heading of this call. And I think we've sort of answered it. You gain trust, you become dependable in some other people's eyes, and the whole thing is about holding yourself accountable. So when you do review your sport or your business or whatever it is you're doing, your project, you can go, do you know what? I've done a good job there. Or I need to do a little bit of work there and improve that. So do you want to see us out then, Warren?
Yeah, actually, I'm going to add a little bit something into it. So if you're working with somebody and you're doing a new business deal, a new business partner involved with you in your business or work, maybe you're working with certain colleagues and you're listening to this call, watching this podcast, and you want to kind of get an idea as to the type of individuals you're working with and how do they respect their time and your time, and are that time integrity? Do they have time integrity? These are the kinds of characteristics you can be looking for in individuals to predetermine this, whether they are that type of person or not. Okay. Are they honest? Can they be trustworthy? And the flip side can be said for this as well. So if you notice somebody does have time integrity, then they're going to be generally they're going to be an honest type of person. They're going to be a trustworthy type of person. They're going to have morals and ethics. Okay. Invariably, they're going to be hardworking and also responsible for their work as well. And you can count on them to be helpful in the same breath as well, on top of that. So these are the type of people that you can be expected to deal with if you are looking to work with people that respect their time and your time. Those are the types of traits you can expect to find in those type of individuals. Not to say that somebody who's not doesn't have time integrity is not either one of those. They don't have any one of those traits, but invariably those are the type of individuals you'll be dealing with. So in saying that, just be conscious and be mindful of the type of people you're doing business with. If somebody is wasting your time all the time, then you can't really expect them to have.
Oh, you're frozen there, Warren. Unless it's me that's frozen. I don't know where you've gone. You could be still talking. Anyway, I think we've come to the end of the broadcast. I'm going to end the broadcast, and for everyone else out there, and successcafe.tv, have a fantastic week, and we will speak